What an abrupt ending to our song. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Open Source Friday. Thank you for being here. Let's take this banner off because we're here. We're not streaming Zoom. Welcome. My name is Andrea Griffiths. I'm a Columbia dev in all the places. Thank you for being here for this special Open Source Friday stream. This is an extra stream, and I think we got two more today. So I'm excited for you to get a full day of open source goodness. In today's stream, this first one I think is going to be my favorite of the day because we have a project that has been doing some amazing things out for the community and is actually created, founded, engineered, scaled, and made possible by two amazing humans, one of which happens to be my colleague, and the other happens to be a GitHub star. So I am very excited to be with you here today. In case you're joining us for the first time, this is Open Source Friday, the show where we get to highlight the amazing open source projects, the maintainers, the contributors, and you. How are you using open source? Why did you come here? Please let us know in the chat where you're joining from. Hi there. Lots of folks. I love this. Thank you for being here, Mr. Rai, always bringing the enthusiasm. I appreciate it. We made it to Friday, and it's going to be a good day. So without further ado, we're going to have a conversation. Maybe we can talk them into walking us through the repo and through the project itself. But if you've ever been, and I talked about this before, how we all go through these patches where we buy a bunch of courses and we think we're going to learn everything. And now it's even more difficult because there are so many signals, right? And a lot of the platforms that are out there selling courses, and no hate to business-minded people and business-minded influencers who sell things like this. I dare say 80% of the stuff that's out there is absolute rubbish. It doesn't work. It's not going to help you land a job. It's not going to teach you anything. All it's going to do is take that $9.99 out of your pocket and put it into whoever's pocket it is. And then you get open source projects that are doing this because they've been there, they've done that. The maintainers of the projects care deeply about people actually getting the skills they need to get jobs. And so that's why we're here, to highlight this such project. So welcome, Dinido. Today we're going to talk about Learn to Cloud with my friend. Hello and welcome, and colleague now. Hello. And GitHub star and awesome person extraordinaire to Rishabh. Hello and welcome to you both.
Thank you. That was an awesome intro. You explained it way better than either of us have ever.
No. But really, it's true though. There were no lies. No lies were said. So welcome both so much. Thank you. I know I've been in your ears for some time asking you to come in Open Source Friday. I'm like, hey, please come out and talk about this project because I think it's just amazing what you've been doing. So when I'm going to start with you because we work under the same little home. And if you can just kind of introduce yourself for folks who might not know who you are, that'll be super awesome.
Yeah, of course. My name is Gwyneth. You can call me Gwen. Online, I also go by GPS. So perhaps you've seen like YouTube or LinkedIn or something like that. And I have been at Microsoft for almost 5 years, which is insane. And it correlates directly to Learn to Cloud because I wrote the original version of Learn to Cloud within a couple of weeks of joining Microsoft. So that's how I know Learn to Cloud is this age, because this is how long I've been at Microsoft type thing. I'm on our Python team. So, all focus is with all the amazing stuff we have, but for the Python community. And I really never know what to say about myself. I like cats. I like video games. I like obviously working on Learn to Cloud, and yeah, that's me.
Thank you. You're being way too modest and humble into everything that you do. So, but you'll see as we progress the conversation. You'll be able to see what an amazing person Gwen is. All right, Mr.
Thank you.
I know you're a little under the weather, so I appreciate you being here.
No, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't. I'm feeling a bit better, so thank you. And yeah, I'm Rishabh. I go as Rishabh in Cloud on socials, if that's your thing, whichever platform usually active on X, LinkedIn, and some YouTube now. I am a developer evangelist at Twilio, focusing a lot on voice AI these days. But in my free time, I have few hobbies. One of them being working on Learn to Cloud, as you can see on the neon sign, and also learning a lot about, recently learning a lot about AI coding agents and how to make the most out of it, and sharing those learnings with the community as well. When I'm not at my desk, you'll probably find me at a soccer field or a volleyball court. Uh, I like sports a lot, so that's a bit about me.
Amazing. Okay. Well, those were really great introductions and better than I could have done myself. So thank you so much. All right, friends. So can you give us a little bit of background as to, and for folks who are just joining and they're not familiar what Learn to Cloud is, tell us a little bit about where the idea came from and why would you do something for free? I'm here with a hard journalistic question. Like, seriously, I mean, I know both of you, and because I have the hindsight of kind of knowing you and understanding your true passion for giving back to the community. It's easy for me to ask the question, but let's see what y'all say about that.
Yeah. Do we want to screen share?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it.
All right. Let me pull something up. Share screen, and then we'll do entire window. No. Yes, this one. Okay, cool. All right. Can you see that?
You're on.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Let's zoom in. All right. So this version of Learn to Cloud is new as of like 3 weeks or so. Prior to that, we had what I like to call like a static curriculum. It very much still outlined kind of everything you need to know to gain a fundamental level of cloud engineering. So if your goal was to get into sort of like a sysadmin, junior cloud engineer, those types of roles, a little bit more ops than dev focused, we kind of had like, it was what was it, Rishabh? Docusaurus, right?
Docusaurus,
yeah. Docusaurus deployed on Azure Static Web Apps, right? I think it was Azure Static Web Apps.
Yep.
Yeah. But we at the beginning of this year, we decided to kind of like move everything over to when we can talk about the backend if we wanted to later. But we wanted like auth so people could have like progress tracking and easier ways for us to kind of like update things on the fly, and also like opportunity for us to kind of play around with different like tools and engineering concepts and stuff like that. So it was a lot of learning from our end to like, how do we run this as cheap as possible, but also like a great experience for people. So anyway, you go to learntocloud.guide. You can only sign in with your GitHub account. And we did this intentionally because we verify your projects against your GitHub account. So that's why we ask you to sign in with that. But yeah, I think what has been very popular from our curriculum is we have this phase-based approach and everything builds on. So you start from like zero knowledge, right? And this is like the basics of Linux, networking, programming, just like concepts. And then we have for each one of our phases a hands-on verification. And in my case, I already passed that one, which is like create a GitHub, like a public GitHub profile. You put your URL there and we verify that it's actually yours. And then you can kind of keep progressing throughout. Then you have Linux and Bash, networking fundamentals, programming fundamentals, cloud platform, DevOps, and then security. And then each one of these will have a variety of topics and steps that you have to work through. And each one of these steps has like a resource that you have to go into, work through, or sometimes there's like hands-on things. Yeah, it really depends on the specific topic and such. But then as you progress through each phase, each hands-on verification is more and more difficult. Like for example, here, you got to create your own README. You have to fork one of the repositories that we have, and then you have to work through a Linux-focused lab environment that we have, and that gives you kind of like this completion token when you're done, and you have to paste it in here. We verify it against our system. And yeah, there's like a bunch of other things that we can kind of dive deeper into. I encourage people, like, it's, again, free. All you need is a GitHub account. And besides the actual app, because I think the app is, somewhat simple, right? It keeps your progress. It gives you all the curriculum. But we also have a total of 4 repositories that we have to keep up to date with, because we have our hands-on projects also on GitHub. And I know that a lot of learning platforms will sort of just keep the labs on their own platform.
Mhm.
But our goal for Learn to Cloud has always been, what is the most valuable thing for like hiring managers? And it's going to be, those valuable Git and GitHub skills, those valuable, experiences on creating projects, on forking, on using all that kind of stuff. And we wanted you to do it from the beginning. Like as soon as you're starting to leverage this learning experience, you're going to get hands-on with GitHub. So we have a bunch of repositories there as well that have like our different labs and lab environments. So that's kind of like a very brief explanation as to what we do now. I don't know, Rishabh, if you wanted to add something.
No, I think you covered it pretty good. I would just add, I think, Andrea, you said how it started. I think it was
Yes,
just
I'm super nosy. I like to know the whole story.
yeah, I think it was just Gwen realizing that there's no resource that exists as of, I think, 2020, 2021,
Yeah.
late 2020, early 2021, that there's no like good resource that exists out there that is open source, that is free for people to learn cloud in a hands-on manner. And I think it just comes from the history of, Gwen and to some extent me figuring out and being self-taught in this cloud space. So a lot of like error and trial. We went through some paid resources during our time transitioning. For me, it was technical support to cloud, and Gwen can tell her journey as well. But I think, yeah, it just came from that missing piece that was not in the community to teach people about cloud concepts and the skills needed to be, a junior cloud engineer, or people learning about DevOps and things like that. And yeah, I think it was very, I would say, like 6 months or 8 months in of me knowing Gwen. I stumbled upon her like Twitch streams and YouTube, and then we just like got introduced to each other. And one day she had this amazing idea of like, oh, what if we create this guide? So the as Gwen said, the initial version of it was very static, but still from our own personal experiences on how to like break into cloud. But now I know we both are very huge advocates of like hands-on skills. And that you can see that throughout the phases of Learn to Cloud is we want people to actually, go create a GitHub, go download the Cloud CLI, go deploy infrastructure, and go through those verifications. But yeah, I think that's the only bit I would have added.
Yeah. And I think the other big thing, and I'm going to make a bold statement, but I genuinely believe, just because I paid attention to this, is there is no curriculum that is more up to date than ours.
Hey, awesome.
No way. I think we are updating this at this point with like how the market is moving at least a couple of times a month. And like there's like MCP, there's agent skills in here, there's Gen AI adding to your applications. Like there's no school out there, there's no boot camp out there, there's no influencer course, there's nothing out there that can keep up to date with this resource that is free and open source.
That's a thing of beauty. That's a thing of beauty. Let's rewind it a little bit though, because I want to know, I'm watching this and I'm like, what does that mean? I'm going to learn to cloud. And then what does that do? Like, what job am I looking to get? What are the skills that the course is going to teach me? Like, can we do like a high level overview of what that is for the folks who are joining? They're like, what even is the cloud?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the issue with the operations side of tech has, I think, historically been that they are the catch-all. So you do everything that the developers don't do. So that's why it's so hard to define what the role of a cloud engineer is, because it doesn't universally apply to what you're doing at company A and company B and company C and like both Rishabh and I had been cloud engineers in our careers, but I'm pretty sure what we were doing was, I wouldn't say vastly different within a realm of things, but it's just like not really standardized. So like I like to say is you have some sort of application in production, you are in charge of everything but the actual writing of the code. Everything that keeps it running, everything that keeps updates going, everything in terms of just, you know, awareness of the infrastructure, you are in charge of all of that. And depending on which role you're in, it will be to certain levels of, or different levels of responsibility. And for those types of roles, operations side, it has been, in my opinion, more friendly to people with non-traditional backgrounds. So people who are like going into the tech space without degrees, because you could start in help desk, tech support. I started like selling iPhones at an Apple store.
What?
You could start in, you could start in a geek squad. You can start in that type of role where you gain experience with like a ticketing system, troubleshooting, where you gain like those people skills, which are like customer service like type skills, right? And then you kind of work your way up. You do help desk, then maybe you do sysadmin or like network admin type, like, and then you maybe do like higher level tiers of that. And then, suddenly you're like in like the cloud / DevOps / space. So our goal has been, how do we create the best curriculum for people who are in those like help desk type roles, customer service type roles? They've got like a certain interest and they want to kind of move up. And that's why we have Linux. That's why we have networking. That's why we have cloud. That's why we have DevOps. And like inside the DevOps, there's like a variety of practices in there. That's why we have security, because you are the Swiss Army knife of the tech space. Like you at the beginning, at least, you can't focus on one thing. You got to have, you know, some skills across the board. And then as your career like moves up, you know, you'll niche into things. But that is the goal of the curriculum. And again, like Rishabh mentioned, is just representative of our own careers, like working our way up into this type of stuff.
That's amazing. And I didn't know that was your background. I need to read about your origin story because that's fascinating. So you think it's actually a career path for people that are coming from non-traditional backgrounds that's much more accessible, like to get in tech?
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe.
No. I thought Rishabh was going to say something because I heard something, but that's why I paused. But I still think so. I am such a big fan of like start in help desk, move your way up, and until this day, I still think that's doable. I know that's not accessible to everyone because, you know, it's not like it pays the best, and you have to put up with so much BS. I will tell you that the help desk role that I had was the worst role I have ever had, and I never wish it on anybody. But because I did it for a year and a half and I got the experience that I needed, and I went into it knowing there were days where I'm like, I just have to do this for a little bit more. I know it's a stepping stone, and it does do that if you know how to leverage it right.
Yeah.
But I still think if I had to start over in tech, like people ask me this all the time, I would do the same thing. I'd go find a help desk job and like kind of work your way up.
That is such an amazing point. I just heard somebody say in a podcast this morning, I'm going to write about it because it's so good. I haven't finished listening to it, but it's like, there is no wrong way to start from the ground up. And hello, I started in support. So I'm like, I adhere to that same philosophy, like honestly. And you get a deep empathy for people that are using, regardless of what it is. If your product is the best of the worst, you don't gain that kind of empathy for your users any other way. But Rishabh, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think as much now that I look back, I don't think I hate my time being in tech support that much, just because from the skills that I gained. During when I was in tech support, I was like, oh, I'm stuck in this. You know, you have customers yelling at you at times when you're trying to explain them a concept that why specific tech doesn't work the way they want it. sometimes customers might be lying about things they have done, but they haven't. So it's a challenging role, but I think the empathy part of it, the communication part of it, the documentation, the
Mm.
amount of knowledge bases that I wrote so that other tech support people can, leverage it, and the amount of detail you have to mention in it, like have screenshots, have exact steps, exact network CLI commands that you run to figure out why the DNS is not, working. It teaches you a lot. And then I think the way it works as a stepping stone is cloud is just a bunch of servers networked together. It's once you figure out working with the servers on prem, which is in majority of the tech support roles and sysadmin roles traditionally been the case. You're figuring out how to support, and if you're working in traditional help desk, you're figuring out how someone laptop need to be fixed, and now you're doing that in cloud. The networks, the concepts, all of that is same, and also the soft skills. I think they're very important. So I think it's a great way, especially for non-traditional like tech career journeys. I think help desk or tech support is a great way to start and gets your foot into the industry. For for traditional, I think cloud is still very much underrated because a lot of the focus has been significantly on like SWE roles for like
Yeah.
computer science graduates and just the computer science field in general. But if you look at cloud, there are so many roles under the umbrella. There's network engineer, there's SREs, there are sysadmins, there are cloud architects, cloud engineers. There's also cloud support, which is a big role in all major cloud providers, and it pays very well. So
Yeah, I think SWEs have had a prestige to them, and it's so interesting to see what's going on now with AI, and like it's like the thing that can be automated the most easily. I'm not saying that it's done right. I'm just saying that this AI stuff came into play, and like obviously because there was so much more code that these models could be trained on, like they have been like instantly usable with SWEs in their work, versus like the operations side, a lot of it is still duct taped and band-aid together. Like I like to tell this story all the time. Is I was working at a company that had made lots of money, and everything they had ran on this 2006 Windows server that they just had to keep adding like memory and RAM to because they couldn't turn it off, because at some point someone stopped updating the patches, and it got to a point where everyone was just scared, like we should just never turn it off, like never run any maintenance on it. And there's so much of the industry that relies on infrastructure like that, right? So there's, in my opinion, plenty of opportunity in that space. And I saw someone's comment that I kind of wanted to address here, just because it's here. Someone said something about there's like some coworkers are scared to pass on knowledge and train other staff members in fear that they'll take their jobs.
Gosh. Yes.
And you asked the question like why we're doing this for free. And I'm gonna speak with confidence from both of our perspectives, Rishabh and I, but we always operate from a place of abundance. Like our lives are so full. Like we are so grateful to be able to be in the roles that we're in, making the amount of money that we make, having like the friends that we have, the connections that we have. Our partners are amazing. Our families are very supportive. Like we have everything we could have ever asked for. So doing something like this or working from a way where like I want to help others, I want to potentially do things so others can also feel this way, there's no other answer than doing that. Like there's at least in my opinion, I think like what could I do with more money? And perhaps I'm just too small-minded that I really don't have an easy answer to that. But if I ask myself, what could I do more to help more? What would it be? What my life look like if I helped more? And I have infinite answers to that. So that's why we do this.
I love that.
100%.
I love that. And that's such a When I'm gonna send you the scene I'm listening to, because everything that you just said, like it's a new Kara Swisher just came out, and I can't remember
Amazing.
the guy
I
that he
love
just
her.
interviewed. Yeah. And he's saying the same. He just said the same thing. Like, and one of the things that she says, because she like started from the mailroom, delivering mail, like at the
Mm.
Washington Post. That's how she
Mm.
started. She's like, she learned that the people who are very good at their job and they're like really truly like just fantastic are the most generous, and then the people who are absolute crap are the ones that are like suck the most.
I
Like those
agree.
were the people that are the least helpful, and they were like the crappiest to her. But the people who are actually like deeply like they have the knowledge, they're like just super cracked out of their jobs, those were the people that were taking the time of day to actually like talk to her and explain things. So here for all of that. So tell me a little bit about the people who have gone through the courses, because you have some unbelievable status, and like share the numbers, please, because they're like mind blowing. How many people
Yeah.
have gone through the courses? How many people you know have gotten jobs because they actually completed the tracks, and or this sparked the curiosity that are like, maybe I didn't even think a cloud career could be for me, and suddenly here's this resource, time, opportunity, preparation, boom, go for it.
Yeah, last year, I can't remember. I know.
Mm.
So we're so bad
Pulling the numbers, but
because
yeah.
we don't care because we like.
I
feel
love
like
it.
I feel
Yeah.
like people who
The vanity metrics of it
yeah
all.
we and like you mentioned, like why didn't you guys come on earlier? Like we just, it's not that, I mean, we love the show obviously and we love you, so it's not nothing to do with you, but it's like we just don't care for anything more than putting the resource out, and like people, and what we do care a lot about is like issues, people telling us, can you fix this? 100%. Like I have like some great automations now that kind of help us get a daily report and we can stay on top of that. But sometimes when I do look at our metrics, I'm like, oh my goodness, like we we could have been doing this full time. But anyway, I think last year over 100,000 visitors.
Yeah,
just
so we
last year,
had
and that was like a
Wow.
low year for us.
122K unique visitors, or 122,000 unique visitors.
And we are all organic. We've never paid for ads. If you go to Google, if you type in Learn to Cloud, we're like top. We don't know. Rishabh told me this. I was like, I had no idea that that was a thing. I don't know how we got SEO optimized or anything like that. But I think it's just like people, you know, it's bigger than us for sure. Like people find the project and they don't even know who we are, which I think is awesome. Like I'll go on Reddit and I'll search for like Learn to Cloud, and I see people sharing it and stuff like that. As far as like people landing roles, I personally, I don't know, Rishabh, if you still have like your DMs and stuff open, but I get at least, I want to say now, like 2 to 3 a month. Back when I was like really on top of my DMs, I was getting these like all like multiple a week. Like, thank you so much. Like I got this, or I helped this job. Yesterday I just did a live stream and someone said, yeah, thank you. When you first released it, I got help this job. And now this month I just landed my cloud engineer role. And I think it took them like a couple of years. And I'm like, that's realistic. That's the thing that we want to tell people, is like, it's not going to be something you can do in 90 days, but get your entry level role, work through the thing. You know, you got to like, everyone has to start from somewhere, but then in a year and 2 years, you can start working towards like that other role that you want. And the time's going to pass anyway. You're going to have to, like, something's going to happen anyway. But I think now with this new platform that we have like the status tab, and you can kind of see, we have right now on this new one, 2,343 people, and like about half people are already like progressing through it. I'm very excited to see who finishes it first, but I'm pretty sure it's going to take a while because it's not easy. We've made it way harder than it used to be. But we're also going to be paying attention more to the stats, just because I got a little like, I think there's been like an increase in people like showing off stuff with all this AI, like creatives, like, oh, I made this, I built this, I built this. And I kind of want to contribute to that, but I want to contribute to that with like, oh, we have these many people learning, like we've empowered this many people, like versus like just I have 13 agents running or something.
You don't have an army of open club. I think you see the meme recently, and it's like, but what is it doing? I have 15 mag minutes, but what is it doing?
Yeah.
So optimizes my, I've seen that. It's a bit hilarious, but yeah, I think we don't actively, until now, I think the new version, we didn't actively look at the numbers that we were getting. But at the end of the year, we did had analytics and stuff through Azure Static Web Apps or Azure Monitor and tools like Plausible. So at the end of the year, I think since 2023, I think, I would just look at the numbers, and the craziest thing, and then I still can't comprehend this. Like my mind cannot, because so out of the 123K, because I have the dashboard pulled up, 74,000 is direct. So people directly going to learntocloud.guide in their browser, which is, to be honest, which is crazy organic marketing, which we are not doing.
Yeah. Which we're not taking advantage of. Can you imagine the ad revenue we could make?
Oh, unbelievable. We're going to talk about that. How can people support the project, whether it be contributing to the project, sponsoring y'all? Like, let's talk about that. Quickly interjection. This is how current your content is. Like, someone is pointing out, I just saw this Kubernetes in phase 5. Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Container orchestration. Beautiful.
Yeah. No, we're on top of that. We're already working on I think we just updated our DevOps phase, which is that in our DevOps capstone. Capstone is what we call those hands-on projects that you have to work through and verify. And we're going to push updates to our last phase security one within like the next week or so. So that's what I'm saying. This is like a living guide. Like what you go through now, you got to go back and check, what's been updated. We're doing better at making sure we announce stuff that gets updated.
Yeah.
But also like now, because you have the progress tracker, whenever you've completed something, but then you go back and you see, oh, it's not fully completed. It's probably because we've added something. So it's easier now for you to view what's been added or what's been updated and stuff like that.
Tell me a little bit about this capstone project. Like, how does that work? Like, it's I've been a victim of buying Coursera and buying so many courses and then never finishing. But mostly having a capstone project, like very much like in school, right? Like you have like this big kind of thesis at the end. And so you do have an opportunity for people to do that where they have an actual working project to show as part of like the portfolio when it finishes. That's amazing.
Yeah. So the phase 1, which is Linux, and then phase 2, which is networking, we have these labs that people deploy to their own environments. And they work through, for the Linux one, they work through, there's this thing called capture the flags, where you essentially are writing commands and you're trying to find a specific value. And each one of our challenges for that lab is based on a specific set of commands we want you to practice. And once you find all the flags, we have a built-in verify command or tool inside of each of the virtual machines that gets deployed. And then you will get a token that has your GitHub username in it. Once you get the token, you also get this really nice certificate that it's like console. It's like a text file, but people like take screenshots, and I always think it looks so cool. I was so proud because I was using like obviously GitHub Copilot. Like, oh, can you help me make this like thing look cool? Because I like when people take screenshots and like share stuff.
Yeah.
And you get this nice little certificate, prints out, you get your token, and then you go to our learntocloud.guide and like, okay, here's my token, and it verifies against our system. So the only way you can get these values is if you actually work through things. I think like my issue with like courses where there's like no way to really prove that you can go through, watch all the videos, check. I watched this, like certifications too, like check. But like there's no way to actually prove that you know the skills. Our curriculum is intentionally like you cannot 100% it unless you go through all of it. Then starting from like our programming phase, so that's 3, you build a Python API, and then 4, you deploy it to the cloud. 5, you add DevOps practices to it, and then 6, you secure it. So it's one project that you're building on throughout the phases. And we have, we were using the GitHub Copilot SDK for some code analysis there.
Very nice.
But we had some issues with having it deployed. So we moved to Agent Framework for now. That's another thing for us. It's like it's a great project for us to get hands-on with like different things. But yeah, we're doing like file checks, we're doing code analysis, we're leveraging a lot of like AI stuff in the back end to like, be able to verify people's work. And so far it's been working pretty great. But yeah, I think I honestly don't even care too much if people look through all the resources that we have. For me, it's like those capstones are quite difficult, and it takes people some time to get through. But that's really the best way to learn.
Yeah, definitely. I think in a way, the move from like the static version of the guide to this is that even if you're not going through, like, we do have suggested content and stuff like that because everyone learns differently. But let's say, you love building and you're like, oh, I don't want to watch another course. So you can go into and go through the Linux CTFs. But if you're not familiar with a certain command, you're gonna go do your research. So it's kind of reverse engineered into the guide now. Same thing goes for the capstone as well. Like, if you don't know how Fast API works, you're gonna go read its docs. Or if you're a video person, maybe you'll watch a quick demo on Fast API. Same thing is on the DevOps phase. I remember this was, I think, a year ago, because we only mentioned containers as
Mhm.
part of the DevOps phase, but then we realized how big Kubernetes was within DevOps roles. So, to Gwen's point, yeah, we actively like update the curriculum itself based on the technology that is being released. So I know Gwen added like a lot of MCP, a lot of AI agent stuff in as well, into the capstone. So you have that experience and that exposure that you can share with wherever you're applying for jobs.
I just saw someone say that we were the fourth. I just searched learn to code, and you guys were the fourth. First of all, you need to search learn to cloud. I'm on DuckDuckGo right now, and after all of the paid ones, we're the first one.
There you go.
I just like, I know, just kidding. But yeah, I just love, it always gets me so slightly emotional how much people really, really like the project. And it comes from all that organic stuff. And it makes it worth it. Really worth keep working on it and updating it, like Rishabh was saying.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you're gonna keep on working on this. Right now, the two of you are the only maintainers. You're the ones doing all the work for it. This is an open source project, right? So how can people help? Like, how can people show up for y'all and help you keep this project growing and thriving? I mean, I know you said that, vanity metrics aside, is it sponsorships? Is it how can we support the project? It's obviously been so impactful to so many people. And you're right, though, there is nothing out there, definitely nothing that is free and open source, that you can start this journey to become whatever it is that you want to do in cloud.
Yeah. So just on the maintainer part, we have to give a big shout out to Caleb. Caleb has started contributing more and more with our projects for, I want to say, the last couple of months. And he was just someone who was going through the curriculum, and he was like, oh, let me suggest this, and would open an issue. And I'm like, cool. How about you open a PR? And they were like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And this was back in, I don't know, the fall of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know he is working towards I think he's in some kind of sysadmin type role and working towards a cloud role. And I personally know that getting hands-on helping us build something like this would definitely help him gain that experience. So in January, when I was like, let's go and build this, I messaged him hey, come, help us build this. So now he's gotten hands-on with a bunch of our DevOps stuff. So CI/CD, our infrastructure as code. I know he's building Grafana dashboards with Rishabh. And now that we get issues, we have Caleb helping us oh, the networking lab is not working for this. And Caleb's helping us with that. So a big shout out to Caleb. And he's pretty much our, I want to say part of our official team. The only reason I'm hesitant is because I am someone who is I just always have a million ideas, and it takes a lot of time, right? Rishabh and I spend a lot of our time. We work our 8 hours at work, but then we also at least spending, I would say 1 to 2 hours every day, kind of like building stuff, adding stuff, editing stuff, updating, people's, issues and whatnot. But I think for now, it's funny because Rishabh and I have not like synced about this, but for now, what we really want is just contributions and people's like feedback on it. We have like this, I will say, I have this certain amount of money in terms of like the infrastructure cost that I am okay with spending out of pocket because of what it's doing for other people. But we also engineered it to be so cheap, to run as cheap as possible. Like we went through so many iterations at the beginning. We're like, let's use this stack. And I'm like, okay, no, like let's use this stack. Okay, no. All right, how about this? Like, and then we settled on like a single container type thing.
You gotta write this out for those of us that are like, what? Another $10? No, for real.
No, literally. Oh my goodness. We started at a SKU for our Postgres that I was like, I think this is probably what we're gonna need. And every day I have this agent skill. I use like the GitHub Copilot CLI. I kick it off just to monitor the database. And then within the last couple of days, I noticed like, oh, we could downgrade. We could save $7 a month. Boom, downgrade. ASAP. So yeah, so our goal right now is really to just like get feedback from people. We do have, you can like sponsor obviously the repository if you'd like. We have some people who have like contributed one-off things. We have someone who's like sponsoring $1 a month, which I think is freaking amazing. It's like whatever you can help us with. I think at one point in the future, we're probably going to get to a point just because of like the growth.
Yeah,
we are going to need help, but I don't think we're there quite yet. And so for now, hey, yeah, if you want to sponsor us, but there's also like buy me coffee links that Rishabh and I both have. But for now, we're not too worried. What we want more is like feedback from like professionals who are in the field. Like maybe add this, maybe provide this better resource, or like improvements to any of our hands-on labs. That would be awesome too. I think that's where the majority of the help could be, and like open issues, open PRs, stuff like that.
Definitely.
Okay, that's awesome.
I think being, especially like if you're in the industry and maybe you have like a niche skill set, let's say you're really good at cloud security, yeah, if you want to check it out, go check it out. If you have really good feedback that we should maybe add it to our capstone or make the hands-on verification better, that would be really helpful. And in the past, that's how community contributions have come in, is from the industry experts from different fields. The other one I would say, which I think Caleb is a great example to, again, shout out to him, but if you're going through the curriculum yourself, be proactive about it. Like if there is something that was like, oh, this was this experience could have been better. Tell us. Open PRs. There have been few one-off cases where people were like, oh, I went through the CTFs and I think this could be improved, and they open PR. So that way you're also getting a contribution to such an amazing, open source project that you can show off.
Yeah, help others. There's no experience requirement level to help. Anywhere you're at, you can contribute to helping someone else. Whether that be, oh, maybe this word would explain this better, or this resource I found a little clearer. Like you right now, whatever you're doing, you can do something to help others. So, and whether that be contributing to our guide or any kind of other way, please do it. That's what we ask.
I love that. The two of you have done so much already by starting this. And I mean, let me look through the questions before I get to my own questions. Let's see. There is, I think we all do Hello World 8581 about the cost saving measures that you apply to the project. How much does it cost to run? I mean, if you want to share that, that's perfectly fine. If you don't, that's okay. Just know that you can contribute to this project. Like that sponsor that's sponsoring $1 a month is goated. Like what a legend. Give what you can. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think the issue with this month, well, obviously we went live like middle of maybe 2 weeks ago. So right now it's looking like it's around $80 for 2,000 plus users. But the issue with that is we made a bunch of like changes to the infra so we don't have like a one stable 30 days of cost. But I think we're probably going to be hovering around that. The biggest cost saving thing is to use the simplest tech that you need. And that is the benefit that we have, that, you know, we don't need to have all the bells and whistles. We just need to, you know, provide a good experience and provide something that is like up to date. So we started first using like Next.js with like a Python back end. And then I was like, we don't really need Next.js. We don't need no fancy and like stuff it's very static. Then we moved to, we're still using React, but we were using Vite. And I can't remember what else. But we still had like, okay, maybe let's use like 2 containers. And then we were like, no, maybe let's use just like a static web app at the front and then a container at the back end. And then because it's primarily using GitHub Copilot to like build everything out. And then at one point I was like, let's just use like Fast API, HTMX, and Alpine.js. So that's literally it. That's the whole thing. Just such a simple thing, and it runs in one single container, and we have a Postgres database, obviously. But yeah, right now we're looking to be around. It's like I checked this morning. It was like $72. So I'm just going to round to 80. But we'll have a better idea of what that looks like next month.
Yeah, and then on the back end side of it as well, this is strictly the guide itself or the platform itself. But you know, you have maybe like $15 to $20 additional to like, you know, the domain and excuse me,
that's right,
the other services that, you know, we are working on to get like more visible stats and more infrastructure stuff that we can later optimize to maybe run it for even cheaper, hopefully.
Yeah, paying attention to like when things need to scale, max replicas, min replicas. All right, like how much can I really push this database SKU? Like all that kind of stuff, just really paying attention to your monitoring logs. We have, again, the freedom that there is expectation with this being free that we can sort of have like a simple experience. We can make changes. Like we're not afraid to like try things because we just kind of have that user base of people are like, yeah, this is like kind of like changing often. So if we wanted to, I don't know, try a different type of SKU or like, let's move this to some other thing, like people would very much be like receptive, like, all right, yeah, go and try that type of thing, which is freaking awesome. And more importantly, this project has allowed us for our own careers to just have something cool to work on that we can apply to whatever it is that we're leveraging for our day jobs. Like for example, we working now more closely with you, Andre, in like GitHub, like you have like those launch videos for the models, and like I know, oh, I need to get this task done anyway. Let me just record it for a demo. So it's great for that. It pays us so much more than money could ever, in our opinion. So yeah, it's worth it.
Oh, I love that. Listen, y'all, the two of you are very generous because you didn't even begin to explain the cost to you like what it costs to hire both of you to do something like this.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. But you do it for the love of the craft and to give back to the community, and that is fantastic. And if you're watching this and this is your space and you're like, yeah, I am that senior person that has been there, done that in cloud, and I can go and actually contribute, be it a review of a module or add another exercise, like go for it. There's like, this project is obviously so meaningful to so many people. I think we need to talk because I love to do something IRL for the people that are IRL inside this box, friends, because we ain't got no budget, okay? But it'd be cool to do like a capstone showcase or something, like get some of the folks that have gone through and actually build interesting things. So that we'll talk more on that. But what's next for the project? Like, I know you just went through a massive transition. I was wondering because I saw like the one repo and I was like, wait, this is archived, like what's going on? And now you explained it beautifully. If you've gone from being just like sort of these living docs to now being a full-on app. Yeah. That must have been a lot of work and time. Anything else on the sort of roadmap for the project itself?
I want us to make more labs for sure. I feel like people are having such a great time working through them. And the best part about them is in order for you to even be able to go through a lab, you have to deploy it on your own. So you get like that instant kind of dopamine hit of like, oh my goodness, I just deployed something completely by myself. And you kind of get that, like, every time you do something like that, it establishes like this belief in yourself that you can do it more, which I think like most educational platforms kind of remove from you. Like you just click a button and boom, your thing is there. Whereas here you have to run commands. If there's any error, you kind of like have to work through it, and then you get to like the actual thing that you have to work through. So I want us to make more of those, and we have. We could have spoken about this too, but we have like a bunch of skills now and automations that help us create labs and verify labs and stuff like that. So stuff like that is fun to do. Yeah, create more labs. Obviously, we have to QA our final phase there for the security stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Also, like, well, we have ideas that come up, like, let's do this, and then we'll just do it. We don't really plan. We just do it.
No sprints or anything. It's just, Gwen going off in Discord and saying, oh, this would be cool. And then 2 hours later, you see a PR.
Discord, let's share that as well, right? Because you do have a Discord for the folks that are going through it, or this is just the two of y'all doing
just
your
us.
planning?
Just us. Okay. We're leveraging now GitHub discussions. Our goal is really, we want people to get hands-on with the stuff that they're gonna use in their roles. And I don't really know if a lot of people use Discord at their job, but yeah, the more we can get you to use like GitHub and all that stuff, the better it is for you.
Yeah, and I think, in terms of some of the direction, we need a good verification stuff for security phase, but then also trying to bring that CTF kind of labs that Gwen mentioned to the DevOps phase and the security phase, because of how just the way it works. Like if you few of the folks who are in the first phase, which is Linux, the way it works is you need to have Cloud CLI installed of your chosen provider. You need to have Terraform installed, and you deploy this infrastructure as code template that we provide with the lab setup. But if you think about it, you're going to learn these skills in phase 3, and that kind of builds the confidence that, oh, I just deployed something using my Cloud CLI, using infrastructure as code right in phase 1. And I think we want to keep that kind of belief and magic going on throughout the entire curriculum.
Yeah, that's that journey. Like, I'm such a big fan of stories. Like, that's why I love giving talks and making videos. Like, I love a story, and we are trying to kind of have that same feeling, but in learning, which is why we love the phases, which we like building on top of each other, kind of building the same projects and stuff like that. But yeah, we were talking about like, what if like the output of this lab was the input of this lab, and like we were going off like, oh, we could do that, dude. Like, we should do this. Like, we get so excited about adding new things. But yeah, I think we're gonna probably, once we have everything kind of up to date, we're gonna move into like, what can we do for our labs to not only make it more enjoyable, give you more of those moments of like, I can't believe I just did this, I accomplished this on my own, but while also like giving you like challenging things to work through.
Amazing. The two of you, you're incredible. Thank you so much for being so generous with the community, giving out this free resource and being so enthusiastic about it. Like, you're doing this not because you have to, but because you want to, and it shows. Thanks for coming to Open Source Friday. Please, I know you're not chasing the spotlight, but please let us shine the spotlight on what you're doing, because it's so important. I love the time machine question. Actually, when you actually kind of answered your own version of it earlier, when you're like, if I had to start over, I would do it the same way. But I'd love to ask each of you in closing. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. There's a lot of people that actually just love their jobs, and it's hard. It's a tough market flooded with very brilliant senior people. So any advice that you have for folks who are watching, either whether they're thinking about digging deeper into their careers and including cloud as like, this is another skill set that I didn't have before, or any advice overall that you think can be useful that'll be, again, just asking for more extra generosity. That'll be great. And we'll start with you, Gwen, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. I think, again, if I had to start over, I would do it the exact same way. Find any job that will give me a opportunity and work my way up. I more than ever, I think it is important to develop your soft skills. So being able to have conversations with people, being able to work through things via, communication, being someone that people want to work with is so important, especially now when people are spending more time, planning than the actual technical implementation, because now we have a bunch of tools that do the technical implementation. So there's more time to all right, what do we really want to build? What do we need to plan? What that? And then that is human to human interaction. And that's purely communication. I know tech has been notoriously the field for introverts and stuff like that. And find a way where, whoever it is that you are, whichever level of, comfort that you have with these types of interactions, how can you kind of do it the best way, while you're also, working with other people and being someone that other people want to work with as well. I think that's more important than ever, the people skills. But also maybe I'm just way too positive, and because Rishabh and I come from having negative $200 in our bank accounts. Rishabh worked at a gas station, I worked at the mall selling phones. If we had to go back to that, I'm pretty sure we'd figure out a way to work our ways into something that we quite enjoyed. But yeah, I think being smart with your money, I know it's so cliche, but we also big fans of living under our means, is all so important. Building good relationships with people who are around you, networking, going to events, just embracing what it is to be a human. I know that sounds so cliche, but when there's so much AI now, what makes us unique as humans, I think that is what people want more of, people want to hire. And obviously you need the skills. I will also say, I still think you should learn stuff in depth. Last year when I switched to our Python team, I bought 3 different Python books. I went through all of them. I was spending days and days studying stuff. I still think there is such an importance into having those deep skills while also developing your soft skills.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. I heed all of it. I need to pay more attention. Rish, what do you think?
Just going through I don't Gwen covered a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if I had to go back, yeah, I would do, because it has made me the person that I am today. It has brought the skills that I have today. I think I would choose the same path. The only things that I would change is maybe have more impact on people's life, maybe be more kind where I can. But that's about it. But if I have to give advice, I would say, yeah, figure out what you want to do pretty early on. I think that's one thing that I could have also used as advice. So have some kind of clarity what brings you joy, whether it's in your career, whether it's your personal hobbies, and then invest in those hobbies, invest in that vision of yours. To Gwen's advice, yes, go deep into those. I think early on being a journalist helps. So there's this T architecture, and then I think that's where the advice of us starting from tech support or help desk role comes, because you get the soft skills, you get the technical skills, you get the troubleshooting, you get communication. And then once you're in the tech industry, you figure out what is something that you really, you can see for the longevity of it, whether it's being, a cloud engineer, whether it's, being an SRE, whether it's security or networking, and then dive deep into that. Yeah, and I think Gwen covered a lot of it, so I don't want to repeat the stuff there. But yeah, just be human, be more kind to others, and be a good part of the community, I would say.
Last thing, just one thing I want to add. we also don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what's worked, but I just have a genuine belief that we're resilient. And when I say we, as like humans, like we'll figure it out. And the only thing we need to figure stuff out together. Like I worry that we're going to start isolating ourselves from other people and getting competitive and stuff like that. And I just, when you live from a space of abundance, it's always better. So whatever happens, like we're have the mentality that, all right, we're going to figure this out.
I love that. Thank you. This has been such a delightful session.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
oh my
thank you for having
goodness.
us.
Always love
Thank
talking to you.
Thank you for taking the time to be here and share the project. And friends, okay, what should we send people to start the project? The new link.
Yeah, learn2cloud.guide.
Okay, so go to learn2cloud.guide, find the repos, start the repos, find the sponsorship options, buy Gwen and buy Rich a coffee, please. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, you know what, about time I give something back and I have all this knowledge that's just bottled up in my head. Let's get it out there and get it to helping some folks.
That would be awesome.
Thank you both so much for being here. This will not be the last time that you're here. I love the idea of doing like a show and tell and getting some people that
would
are
be cool.
That would be cool.
So let's do that. Thank you both. Have a good rest of your day. When take the rest of the day off. You've done enough today.
Thank you. I'm going to do exactly that.
Thank you. I'll see you folks later. All right.
Bye, everyone.
How great are they? Honestly, like when people do stuff like this, they do it from the heart, and it shows. Do not sleep on this opportunity to go learn. Even if you're not thinking a path to cloud engineering, it's like, oh yeah, that's not something I'm not into it. That's not something I want to do as a career path. Just learning the set of skills, going through the exercises, like that's not going to be time wasted. So take advantage of it. Don't forget to go by, please. Thank you all so very much for being here. Azad, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Pearl, you're amazing. Thank you for all the very thoughtful questions and comments as well. I love to come and sit down and have a cup of coffee with you. We can do virtual ones. Honestly, one of the things that I've noticed about people, and this is true to the podcast I was listening to earlier that I mentioned, that the people that are like genuinely just really good at what they do are often very generous with their time. So ask away. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. Take care, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to leave you with the mandatory promo. What are we going to play for you today? Well, this one has got a good tune, so you can start your Friday with this kind of energy. Go give something back to somebody today. When you say something that is so incredibly true, when you live in a place of abundance and you want to give back, things just work out better. They do. Take care, everyone. Thanks for being here. See you at 1. We'll have an amazing project all about AI and agents, but open source. See you then.